Welcome back. It's another episode of Butt Crack Cycles. If you're a new viewer here, my name's Paul. This is my YouTube channel. It's all about Harleys. And this is another episode of what I've been calling my midweek Motovlog. It's a series I started doing about a month ago where I go jump on one of my bikes, throw a camera on, throw the microphone on, and go just ride around and talk about something in Harley world and just give my opinions on it. And I really want to emphasize that at the start of this video. This is just my opinion. Anyways, now that that sort of disclaimer is out of the way, let's movie magic ourselves onto the seat of a motorcycle, go ride around, and go talk. Hope you all enjoy this one. Thanks for watching. Okay, we're sitting out here at the stop sign at the end of my street. And we're going to start the riding portion of this video. Real quick though, if you're a regular returning viewer who's been watching these motovlogs, you'll notice that our perspective has changed. We are now attached to my head. You see as I'm looking around. Let me know if you like this better than the chest camera before I had the camera on my chest. So leave a comment if you like that helmet camera or chest camera. Yeah, let's start riding. Let's start talking. So before we get too deep into this video, I just want to reiterate what I said at the beginning and sort of like my intro. And that is, everything that I say in this video is just my opinion based on my experiences. And in no way, shape, or form am I trying to tell you what kind of bike you should own, or you should ride, or you should spend your money on. I'm not trying to say if you ride a bagger that your bike sucks. Just that baggers aren't really right for me. And so these are really my reasons why I don't want a bagger. It might be the perfect bike for you. And if you're riding a bagger right now and you're super duper happy about it, good. I'm happy for you, you know, if that makes sense. We can all like different things, though I really don't like baggers at all. So with that out of the way, let's talk about why. Or rather, why not? So I'm gonna break this video down into kind of like two segments here. My first section is gonna be like objective things about baggers that I don't like, things about the bikes themselves. And sort of the second part of this is gonna be like cultural things about baggers and just some motorcycle philosophy. So let's jump right into it. The first reason I don't like baggers is that they're big and heavy. So I'm obviously riding my Sportster again for this motovlog. This seems to be the better bike to ride. It's quieter, so the audio comes through better. And it's not that I've never ridden a bagger. A lot of my friends have them, so I've ridden them, I've been on them. I just tend to prefer a smaller bike. You know, your average bagger weighs like 900 pounds or so, and it's pretty big. And that's a lot of bike to be pushing around in tight spaces, like inside of a shop or a parking lot. And it just makes doing everything on the bike harder. Coming to a stop, leaving a stop sign, you know, that extra weight and the extra size just makes the bike that much less manageable. That road there is just doinked. Yes, I understand that, you know, a 90-pound woman can pick one of these up if she uses good body mechanics. I've picked one up before that's been dropped. It's no big deal, really. But my point is, if I don't have to, I don't really want to. And I'm not a real big guy. I'm like 5'6", 5'7". I weigh about 160 pounds. And, you know, size does have something to do with this to some extent. Someone who's probably 6'5" and 350 pounds probably isn't going to be real happy on this Sportster that I'm riding right now. And so for somebody like that, a bagger might make a little bit more sense, just from a practical, you know, comfort perspective. And that's cool. And again, I'm not trying to tell you what you should or shouldn't own. If a bagger is the right choice for you and your body size, do it. Go buy it. Ride it. But for me, I'm physically a lot more comfortable on a smaller bike. In any event, it's not that I can't physically handle one of those bikes. I absolutely can. I just choose not to. Something about the size of my shovel head is about as big of a bike as I want to ride regularly. So if you're watching this coming from modern bikes, think of like a Dynaglide, a Softail, even a Fat Boy. I think are reasonable size-wise for me. But once you take that next step up into the full-size bagger, that extra couple hundred pounds and all the extra crap that gets tacked onto them makes those bikes just unpleasant to manage. Baggers are also expensive. I've heard people say, oh, well, that's a selling point of them. That way you know if somebody's got money. But man, I have watched so many of my friends make some really stupid financial decisions. Old Buzzard got him some breakfast. But yeah, I've watched a lot of my buddies make some really dumb financial decisions over a bagger. For some reason, I've talked about this before on this channel, I think financing a bike is one of the dumbest things you can possibly do in your life with your money. But for some reason, the baggers do it more than any other bike to people. You don't see people making dumb finance decisions over a Sportster, but I've watched a lot of my buddies piss away, you know, hundreds of dollars a month on interest so that they could finance a Road Glide or whatever it might be. The other sort of thing about them that's kind of just like, you know, about the bikes themselves is that I don't really like the way they look. I personally think that most baggers are just visually like too busy, if that makes sense. I don't mind the big chunky FL front end. I prefer the FX front end on a big twin, but I don't mind the FL front end. It's not that bad looking. What I do mind and what I do think makes these bikes ugly is when you start slapping all of the other stuff on. We are slowly getting rained on. I'm glad I got the full face helmet today. When you have the big bike with the big bags and the big fairing on the front, and especially the tour pack. The tour pack to me is the biggest killer of looks. Those things are so ugly, especially with like the big backrest, like the wraparound passenger seat. It just looks like a car seat for a toddler. Oh man, I think that just really ruins the lines of a bike. To me, the more sort of sleek and nice of a silhouette that a motorcycle has, the better it looks. And tacking all of those accessories and junk onto the bike not only makes it heavier, it also makes it uglier. As far as the fairings go, I like the Electric Glide fairing so much more than the Road Glide fairing. The sort of shark nose Road Glide fairing I think is hideous. But the Electric Glide fairing's not so bad. That fairing's been around for a while, so that gets a pass in my book. So now we've kind of touched on stuff I guess would say objectively don't like about them. I think they're big, I think they're heavy, I think they're ugly, I think they're too expensive. I want to talk about some of the sort of philosophical stuff and the culture stuff. For some reason, I think with the baggers comes along what I think is oftentimes the uglier side of Harley culture. You know, there's different subcultures within the Harley world. There's chopper guys, and you know, there's guys doing stunts on Sportsters and Dynas, etc. But the bagger crowd, and I'm mostly talking about newer baggers here, they are the worst in my experience with the whole get a real bike. And it's not just the guys who ride them, it's the guys who sell them too. I rarely go to my Harley dealership. Sometimes I will go when I need a part and they just magically happen to have it on the shelf, which is very rare. But you obviously, when you walk into most dealerships, the parts department's tucked away in the back, so you have to walk through the showroom in order to get to the parts department. And it's not unusual for me to show up on a Sportster and with the sissy bar or something on the back in a bag where I'm going to put my parts to go home with. And I walk in the door, I park the bike up front in the motorcycle parking area, walk through the door, walk through the showroom, and invariably sales guy is always like, hey man, when are you going to get rid of that girl's bike and get yourself a real bike? The answer is always never. But for some reason, folks who ride baggers seem to, in my experience, look down on smaller bikes as being not real bikes. Basically, like in their heads, if you're not riding the biggest, baddest, heaviest, most expensive touring bike that Harley makes, then you just, you know, you're low on the totem pole. I don't really know where that comes from. I wonder if some of that is like the dealerships pushing those bikes so hard and pushing that lifestyle to anyone who walks in the door wanting to own a motorcycle. They push them towards the baggers because they're so expensive. And the other side to this sort of cultural, philosophical bagger equation to me is that many of these guys who are walking into a dealership and financing this bagger, maybe it's their first bike they've ever ridden or ever owned. I see that a lot. Guys never had a motorcycle ever, so instead of buying, you know, a little Honda or a Sportster or something to ride on, to learn on, they go buy the biggest, baddest thing they can get. And then they go out on Friday night, and I call them the Friday night loudmouths, and for some reason they just feel like they got to go to the bar and get drunk and be a loudmouth and just show everyone that they're Billy Badass. And I just don't want to be around those kinds of people. But for some reason, baggers attract those kinds of people. I can't really explain why. I'm sure there's plenty of people who are chill that ride baggers. My buddy Chris has an electric glide, and he's pretty chill. And some of my other friends have some baggers, and they're pretty chill. But, you know, it's not unusual on your average Friday or Saturday night to walk into a bar, a biker bar or whatever, and find that guy. He's always there, and he's always running his mouth. And then he's gonna walk outside half drunk and jump on this brand new CVO road glide or whatever and go do something really stupid. And I think that makes Harley riders as a general population, I think it makes us all look bad. A lot of times these are guys not wearing helmets, not wearing any gear at all. You see them riding flip-flops and shorts and no shirt. And I just hate being around those people. Now, I will give baggers some credit. Those things do ride really good. They're like a lazy boy sofa or a lazy boy chair on two wheels. And if you were going on a cross-country trip, that would probably be the bike to have. That's where the bags and the comfort and the windscreen and the fairing and the extra weight to keep you a little more planted on the road, like in a crosswind or something, is useful. However, let's go back to our Friday night biker bar hero. I can't tell you how many people I know who have motorcycles in general. This isn't just about baggers, but it seems to apply to them a little bit more. I can't tell you how many people I know that have baggers who just never ride the things. They buy them, they sit in the garage, they only take them out on the weekend. The bike might be 10 years old and it has 6,000 miles on it. And they've never gone on a cross-country trip on it. They've never gone on any long trip. They just ride the thing 10 or 15 miles to the local biker bar on the weekends and then park it. And to me, that's like, what a waste. Why buy this big, nice touring bike if you're never going to use it for its intended purpose? I don't really go on any big trips, so I don't own one of those. You know, it doesn't make sense. And quite honestly, I'd probably take one of my stupid old small bikes on a big trip just because it's me and my personality. But as someone who also makes a lot of short trips, and I'm often riding roads like what y'all are seeing here, little twisty country back roads that are all, you know, destroyed with potholes. I get so much more pleasure and enjoyment out of something like the Sportster. This is so much more fun on a road like this, and you feel a lot more connected to the road because you're not so isolated from anything. I think this is a much more enjoyable motorcycling experience than going down the road on something where you can't feel any bumps and you can't really feel how the road surface is, and you don't really get so much wind in your chest and on your face because you have this big fairing in front of you. If I wanted to ride along with heated grips and a heated seat and GPS and a radio and Bluetooth and all that BS, I would just drive my frickin' pickup truck. You know, like, what's the point? I don't know. I think that's my biggest issue with baggers, is that they've slapped all of this crap onto them that I don't think belongs on a motorcycle. And I do understand that if you're taking a big cross-country road trip, that having that stuff certainly makes your life easier, and it makes the trip more comfortable, and it probably will make the trip more enjoyable. But most of the people who are owning these bikes aren't actually riding them like that. The bikes just get parked, and it's just such a waste. So I think that really sums it up for me, just why I hate baggers. Like, there's nothing about them that's appealing to me. Yes, I've ridden them. I just don't like them. It doesn't feel enough like a motorcycle to me, and I don't see myself ever owning one. Though I guess I will answer two questions here. One is, will a bagger ever be on this channel? The answer to that is probably yes. As I buy and fix and flip old bikes as, you know, part of my business, eventually maybe, yeah, I might buy a bagger and fix that up. Y'all might see that here on this channel as a flip bike. And as I start to take on more motorcycle work for customers, chances are y'all will see me work on an Evo bagger for somebody. So you'll probably get some bagger content on this channel at some point in time. But would I ever own one? I don't think so. Not in the near future. If I was to own a bagger, though, I think probably what I would go for, the one bike that would get me to own a bagger, would be something like maybe a 70s, late 70s, early 80s shovelhead FL bike. And I would probably want to do it with just bags in the rear and no fairing, and just run like one of the old school plexiglass windscreens, you know, the ones that go like this. So that would probably be the only way I would do a bagger. And really, like I talked about earlier, the only reason I would even think about one of those is if I was ever, oh, it's windy today, if I was ever gonna do like some really big trip. And at the end of the day, I don't necessarily feel like I need a bagger to go do a big trip. I feel pretty confident that I could stuff the sissy bar bag and my shovel head full of a bunch of crap and go take a big trip, and that's something that I really want to do. I just haven't done it yet. And who knows, in 20 years, if YouTube's still a thing, and if I'm still alive and I'm still making YouTube videos and such, maybe y'all might see me riding one as my body slowly starts to degrade. My back and my knees start hurting more than they do already. I already wake up in the morning and everything creaks and pops. But for right now, I'm perfectly happy not owning one. And I'm curious to see what y'all's thoughts are on this. Do you agree with what I have to say? Do you think I'm completely off my rocker? And I think that's where I'm going to wrap this episode up. Again, just to reiterate what we talked about at the start, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, how to live your life, what bike to own, how to ride, none of that. These are just my opinions. Go ride your bike. Go own whatever bike you want. If you want to buy a street glider, road glider, electric glider, an Astro glider, a geezer glide, go own one. I'm not going to stop you. I don't care. I'm going to be happy to ride along with you. All I ask is that you do actually go ride the thing. Don't just leave it sitting in a garage. Ride it. Put some miles on it. Go enjoy it. Be safe. I'll see y'all on the next episode. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you are currently subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to subscribe, thank you in advance. If you've ever bought anything off my web store, buttcrackcycles.com, thank you for supporting me with your hard-earned money. That really means a lot to me. I'll see y'all on the next episode. Have a great day.